Well, you gotta hand it to Attorney General Merrick Garland. The guy follows his marching orders. I'll tell you, on the hot seat today, answering questions about Hunter Biden, answering questions about the border, answering questions about fentanyl. Woo! It's a rough day for the Attorney General. But as the man who was robbed of his position on the Supreme Court and handed the Attorney General's position for sour grapes, he's doing a heck of a job following orders. It wasn't me. The Attorney General began his testimony with, look, I'm just doing my job.
Our job is not to take orders from the president, from Congress, or from anyone else about who or what to criminally investigate. As the president himself has said, and I reaffirm today, I am not the president's lawyer.
Yes, you are.
I will add, I am not Congress's prosecutor.
Really are. You've done that. Here we have a devastatingly obvious weaponized Department of Justice. This man is the head of the Department of Justice. He has to say these things because what we see with our own two eyes is some of the most flagrant examples of basically, I'll just say, weaponized Department of Justice.
So here, I think, is what the Republicans have to do because the ball is in their court. This is a Democrat-appointed Attorney General. There are not many ways to get rid of him. You have to expose what this is because I do think more and more Americans do believe that the Department of Justice has in some way been politicized at the very least. So when you think about that, it loses the trust of the American people. So for Merrick Garland to come out like this, even if he's telling the truth, Mike, which I don't believe, even if Garland is telling the truth, the Department of Justice is not political or weaponized, you just don't believe him. So he's not moving the needle as far as restoring trust in the agency that he runs, therefore he's not really the right person to lead it.
They will not be intimidated.
We will not be intimidated.
I just said that.
We will do our jobs free from outside influence, and we will not back down from defending our democracy.
Okay, they're not defending democracy, one. Two, how can you intimidate the United States Department of Justice? Of course they're not intimidated. They have no reason to be intimidated. They can truly take out anyone in this nation they so choose. There are people that are currently locked up because of their role in January 6th that haven't even had a trial yet. They're just locked up. The Department of Justice is clearly politicized and weaponized, and for this man to say, we will not be intimidated, of course you're not going to be intimidated. You're the one intimidating us.
So it gets back to what the Republicans are going to do about this. Because now we have the hearing, and we talked to Congressman Biggs about this. Because the story is there to be told. And it's told through evidence and examples. Hunter Biden being one. It's two different things that he's gotten special treatment on. No, the gun charge, they're trying to be like, nah, look, we're for real. You can tell that that's what it is. The IRS charge as well, that's just miraculously disappeared. But then there's the protection of Biden, because this Department of Justice, we'll look at it collectively, not only has been violating Americans' constitutional rights since the FBI was founded as part of the DOJ, they spied on one president illegally, unconstitutionally. Nothing happened, no repercussions. And they didn't investigate allegations against the current president. So there's enough things to go on here to say, y'all are not shooting us straight at all.
And on top of that, let's give credit to a couple of the congressmen who brought up the weaponization against pro-life organizations like Catholic priests or Christian pastors throughout the country. When asked about that, Merrick Garland got a little bit testy about this one.
Do you agree that traditional Catholics are violent extremists? Yes or no?
Because in a memo, the Department of Justice, the FBI, labeled pro-life organizations and Christian organizations as such.
Do you agree that traditional Catholics are violent extremists? Yes or no? Yes or no?
The idea that someone with my family background
put it back in the deck,
would discriminate against any religion is so outrageous, so absurd.
Mr. Attorney General, it was your FBI that did this. It was your FBI that was sending, and we have the memos, we have the emails, we're sending undercover agents into Catholic churches.
They were. We have the memos. We have it in writing. And he pulls out the Jewish card. Do you think someone of my religious background Whatever. Well, yeah, here it's right here. It's right here in your message. This is your letterhead, sir. Yes, actually, you have, and I'm glad that got pointed out. I think it gets buried in the Hunter Biden story, but I mean, how important is that our freedom of religion is being violated right before our eyes? That certain pastors or heads of Catholic churches would speak out against abortion and would advertise themselves and market themselves and rally their base as pro-life, that they're being targeted by the Department of Justice. That is a flagrant constitutional violation.
But they've been waving that in our face for almost 100 years. I just don't know what it will take for we the people to just wake up and go, wow, it's really that bad. Because you go back to the 30s. The FBI then was breaking into people's houses without warrants, planting devices. So the trend of this agency, as the DOJ as the umbrella, doing unconstitutional things is not new. It's just that this is what happens when you don't actually have repercussions for bad behavior. Mike, you're the parent in the room. If you let your kids get away with things and don't punish them, they're going to do it again. I do the same thing, right? Because we all have patterns. And we're going to go up to that pattern until we interrupt the pattern. So for the DOJ, it starts off as just minor breaking and entering by the government. Now, because we didn't stop it in the 30s, look at where we're at. And if we don't do anything about this now, whether it's vote more Republicans, whether it's Republicans actually use their authority in the House, on the Oversight Committee more effectively to go after the money, moving around, I just fear where this agency, the DOJ, will go next, given where we're at right now.
And there's no one to stop them, really. Again, going back to the we will not be intimidated. If the Department of Justice, the top cop, the Attorney General of the United States of America says we will not be intimidated, well, thanks, Professor. We know that. Your job is to intimidate. There was, I believe, a representative from Indiana who she was here in... let's say, I think she's Ukrainian. I believe she is Ukrainian. She has a thick accent. She was firing off. She's like, I came to America to not see this. I came to America. She asked the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, do you understand the people are scared? They're afraid of you. They're afraid of the FBI. They're afraid of the CIA. They're afraid of the Department of Justice. This Department of Justice has vilified and made to be labeled as terrorists parents that show up and get fired up at school board meetings. This Department of Justice has taken people that quite literally were on the lawn in January 6th and investigated them and their families. The intimidation tactics of this Department of Justice to squash any speech that is against their narrative, the Democrat Biden White House narrative, is just staggering.
Got to tell you, friends, because this is very important. It really is. This is a power issue, and it's very un-American. You know, whether you think it's politicized or not, I think you can agree to the constitutional violations are numerous inside the Department of Justice.